Good morning, Yolanda. It's April 2nd, and this is my Love You Yo tip of the day, too. In my experience, in my opinion, there are two things that affect our physical well-being. Number one, and most important, is what's going on in our head. And number two is what we consume. It's not just what we eat, but what we breathe, what we slap on our skin, like those spray-on tans or whatever is so popular in Hollywood, the hair dyes, everything that interacts with our body ends up directly in our blood system. And when you have any kind of brain dysfunction, a brain cell is a very delicate molecule. You have to consider every single thing that might get in your bloodstream and affect your brain. But like I said, I think the most significant factor of disease is our subconscious psychospiritual baggage. And I wanted to share a quick story to help persuade you that that might be true. You have a disease. Lyme's disease is one that the medical profession has said it's totally out of your hands. It was some little tick that came by and it bit you, and you were a total victim in all of this. And all you can do is let us keep poking you and putting stuff in you and whatever and fix it. And I totally disagree. Lyme's disease is just the dysfunction that you chose, but you let it in with the psychospiritual stress that you have. And all of ours is different, and we're going to end up with something different, but the cause is the same. Stress, and usually fear, harms us. It suppresses our immune system. So I was invited to be on a television town hall one time about superbugs. And the guest of honor was a man who had survived an incredible superbug story. And this, out of control super bacteria, whatever it is, just ate his flesh, just was eating away at his limbs. And they're scrambling to save his life with this drug and that drug and this drug. And finally, got this thing under control. So he was the guest there today, and me with my theory that now it's us and our shit that causes disease. And so it was my turn to speak. I asked the man, so we're all hysterical about these, what did they call them? Killer bugs. We're all hysterical about these killer bugs, and now with the mass overuse of antibiotics in our society, it's become a huge problem. They're more powerful than the drugs. However, not everyone that was exposed to the superbugs got sick. This guy who was there as a guest and who had written a book and traveled the country, well, he was surrounded by people the whole time he was being eaten away by this superbug, and it didn't eat anyone else. And when we got deeper in his story, and if you read his book, here it is. There's a death in his family. He is so overwhelmed he cannot attend the funeral. Everybody else goes off to the funeral. He can't cope. He stays home. Ba-boom, bada-bing. He's in the hospital being eaten alive by a superbug. It is a connect-the-dots situation. It could have been a heart attack that day. It could have been a seizure. It could have been the beginning of MS. It was whatever. But the same cause is there. He went into fear. He had grief, pain, horror that he could not cope. And it was so big and stressed his body so hard that it became a physical disease. I believe the same as I know in my heart. All disease stems from what's going on in our psycho-spiritual world and what we're consuming. I don't look very healthy to be telling people how to live their life right now, but it actually makes my point. Last summer, my skin was clear and glowing. I looked 40, and I'm not. And I was tan and healthy and svelte and working in the garden, living in my dream home, had, booked a show with CMT, was about to show the world this wonderful healing thing that we do. And my family was the victim of a series of crimes that bullied us onto the street. We lost our home, our gardens, the show, almost everything we owned. My art collection was destroyed. We were just hammered by some really nasty bullies. And so here I am 5 months later, haggard and tired looking, and I'm still physically fit. I can scale the stairs and outplay any child, but My body is feeling the stress of this experience. And it was my choice to let that happen, because I know better. Every time I've lost a property or I had a devastating experience in the past, it has been part of the divine plan to get me where I really belong. And in retrospect, if I could have just stepped into that, oh my God, I'm so glad to be here. It didn't have to be so painful to get out of there. I wouldn't have had to do all this. But now that I'm counseling you, that it is in your control to change your mind and change your life, to change your mind and change your consumption and get well from Lyme's disease. It's not about the antibiotics. It is about you. I'm doing my own work, Yolanda. I'm working harder so that I will be a better role model. I am consuming better, and I am working every single day to change my mental loop, the toxic thoughts that are keeping me stuck. I guarantee you they're connected. Please keep looking.